I've been an activist for about 20 years and in the Green Party for about 12. But this is really my first experience with the National Party and my first opportunity really to get out and meet people. And I have to say that it has been a most incredibly inspiring and uplifting experience to see how incredibly enlightened, committed, and courageous the Green parties are all over America, including and especially the DC Statehood Greens. So thank you all for the wonderful work that you've done to bring us to this amazing historic moment. So a brief word about that, with democracy and justice breaking out all over, from the revolutions in the Middle East to the uprisings in Wisconsin and the Occupy protests all over the country, the spirit of democracy is alive and well on the land. And at the same time, people are breaking away in record numbers from the established parties. So that really gives us the opportunity to make this election a powerful tipping point to take back the promise of democracy and the kind of world that we deserve and that really is within our reach. And the Green Party is really the vehicle to make that happen. And as you know, we desperately need a tipping point because we are at an incredible breaking point. People are hitting the breaking point, the planet, our democracy, our economy. And we didn't get here by accident. We got here through the work of a political establishment, both Republicans and Democrats, who delivered crisis after crisis across the board, from the bailouts on Wall Street to the layoffs on Main Street, the attacks on Medicare and Social Security, which is what prompted me to get into this race, the unending epidemic of home foreclosures, the expanding wars for oil, which have gotten much worse and much bigger under this president, supposedly the peace president. They have been privatizing education, dismantling our civil liberties, in all-out attack on racial justice with the massive prison industrial complex and the racist war on drugs. They are plundering the environment and driving us over the cliff of climate change. But in response, people like you and me are standing up now in ways that the world hasn't seen in generations. And we are now a movement for democracy and justice, which is really alive and well in our communities. We deserve a voice in this election and a choice at the polls in November, so that you don't have to go to the polls and pull the lever or punch the ballot for another Wall Street and corporate-sponsored candidate. Because to vote for any of them is to give a mandate for 4 more years of corporate rule, and that is the definition of throwing away your vote. So we are the alternative to that, and by voting for the Green Party, for my candidacy or for any other Green Party candidacy, we're voting for the kind of future that we want and that we deserve. The core of our campaign, so now getting to your questions about what are the 3 priorities. The main focus of our campaign is the Green New Deal, which basically creates 25 million living wage, community-based full-time jobs. It puts an end to unemployment. It jumpstarts the green economy for the 21st century, and it substantially combats climate change. It creates a spectrum of jobs that communities decide they need. It puts the power in the hands of our communities to decide exactly what kinds of jobs they need to make themselves sustainable, not only ecologically, but also economically and socially. So it includes the traditional green sector jobs, clean manufacturing, organic agriculture, public and active transportation, and clean renewable energy that, of course, has the benefit of also providing true national security and making wars for oil obsolete. In addition to the Green New Deal, well, I should say really, as part of the Green New Deal, we include financial reforms so that we can afford these investments, and we also include democracy reforms so that public will can actually be reflected in policymaking for a change. So for those financial reforms, we include things like breaking up the big banks, stopping the bailouts for Wall Street, the banks and big corporations, and creating municipal, state, and federal public banks that actually provide the credit for families, municipalities, state and national government, and businesses to do the kinds of things we need to do, but which the private banks have been unwilling to provide the cash for. In addition, we include financial reforms in the area of taxation so that we have, again, the dollars that we need to do the things we need. And very broadly, that includes putting a tax on financial transactions, taxing capital gains like income, taxing offshore tax havens, and also putting a tax on the Wall Street bonuses for CEOs who've been bailed out. And there we're talking about a 90% tax so that they're truly paying back what, what the taxpayers deserve. So that's the financial reforms that enable us to fund the Green New Deal. We're also talking about and calling for the democracy reforms that enable us to capture the public will, because all of these things are things that the public supports, but it's only the Green Party that can actually put it on the table and bring it into action because, of course, we are the one party that is of, by, and for the people. The democracy reforms we're talking about include taking back the rights of personhood from corporations who stole them and returning them to people. It includes getting money out of politics, which we know how to do. It's not rocket science. We can do that by passing public financing of campaigns and by passing free media time to allow free access to the airwaves, which belong to us, the public. Our democracy reforms include ensuring everyone has the right to vote. None of these voter ID laws that prevent low-income, people of color, students, and elderly from voting. It also includes a hand-marked paper ballot. It includes giving the right to vote to everyone who deserves it. And that includes giving the right of statehood to Washington, D.C., which needs and deserves the right of statehood, which is long overdue. So these democracy reforms are all part of the Green New Deal. Thank you. In addition to the Green New Deal, that is the economic reforms, we're also calling for healthcare as a human right. It's time for us to join the community of developed nations. They can afford it. We, the richest country in the world, can't afford it. And besides, the truth is it actually saves us money. It doesn't cost us money because it eliminates the massive, wasteful private health insurance bureaucracy that currently gobbles up 30% of every healthcare dollar that we are paying. So we put that back into the healthcare system. There's more than enough to cover everyone, cover us comprehensively, including eye, dental, mental health, pharmaceuticals, all those things that are forever falling through the cracks. And also, Medicare for all includes, shall we say, it has the effect of stabilizing medical inflation, which is one of the biggest drivers of our national debt. And that's how you have the big, well-kept secret that healthcare for all under a Medicare for all system doesn't cost us, it saves us trillions of dollars over the coming decades. So this is a win-win all around. We're also calling for education as a human right, including tuition-free public higher education for every student who wants to go. So that means covering the cost of higher education, whether it's technical school, 2 years, community college, or 4 years of a full public college. We can do this, and we should do this. This is an investment. We did it before in the GI Bill. For every dollar we invested as taxpayers, $7 were returned to us in improved revenues and productivity of the economy. So this is something that we can do and in addition, we also need to bail out the students who become indentured servants. We need to forgive student debt, period.
Jill, we have a couple of questions for you.
Okay, great. Just to finish real quick,
Sure,
I want to make one other comment. We did it for the bankers. We can do it for the students. We're also going to legalize marijuana, create a fair path to citizenship for immigrants who are a critical part of our economy and our communities. And we are going to bring the troops home now, not only from these illegal and immoral wars. We're going to put an end to the drone wars, and we're going to bring home our military bases. There are over 1,000 of them in over 140 countries. And the last word, which I think is really important for people to remember, when they say that, you have to be very afraid of your vote, and you're going to hear this, I'm sure you're hearing it already. You have to be afraid of voting your values because you could have unintended consequences. We have lived with that strategy for at least 10 years, and now we know very well that strategy is false. Silence is not an effective political strategy, period. Silence doesn't work. We need voices and we need values. The politics of fear, tell anybody who tells you you need to be afraid of voting your values. We've done the politics of fear, and it's done a great job of delivering everything that we were afraid of, from the war to the meltdown of the climate and the breakdown of the economy. So it's very clear. The answer to the politics of fear is the politics of courage. That is what the Green Party is about. It's what the Liberty Party was about, that helped bring us the abolition of slavery. It's what the Women's Party was about, which helped bring us women's right to vote. It's what the socialist and progressive parties were about, that helped bring us the right to work and 40-hour work week and the right to unionize and the right to safe workplaces. So history is very clear. It's not just okay to stand up for our values and our vision as Greens. It's absolutely essential. That's what we're going to do together, and we're going to turn this breaking point into a tipping point in this election and start taking back our democracy and the peaceful, just, secure, green future we deserve. Thank you.
So thank you, Jill. Thank you so much for that. Very comprehensive, and we got a lot in a short period of time. So thank you for that. We have two questions. We're going to ask people to ask a question and not make a comment in order to justify your question. So we've got Anne, we've got Marion. Is there anyone else that has a question council-wise for you? Okay, so we have those three questions. We'll try to get this done in the next 3 minutes.
Jill, I just wondered how your fundraising has gone, what is the amount you've raised, and how many states are you on the ballot? Can you just give us a quick guess?
Thank you so much. And that really is critical, because that's how we ensure that every American has the right to vote different, the right to vote for change, the right not to go in the voting booth and give a mandate for 4 more years of the same. We are currently on the ballot in 20 states. We have active campaign drives, ballot drives now going on in 15 at least. We are very hopeful that we're going to break all records for the Green Party now. And we are doing a great job. The state parties are really excited and energized. They are feeling the energy on the ground right now. I'm hearing from the people in New Mexico who've been just intensely demoralized over the past 5 or 6 years and really have not connected with the party. Suddenly they are reactivated, and now they're out in the street and finding that they're being really welcomed, open arms, that it's really easy for them to collect signatures now. Nonetheless, we've got a lot to collect, so we're working very hard on that one, which is actually due on Monday. So it's really exciting. I encourage you to go to my website to get, updated on the last of it, on these ongoing ballot drives that are still very much in the works right now. On the fundraising, we need your help very much. We're close to qualifying in many states. We need to get to 20 states where we have raised the $5,000 threshold. And I forget exactly where DC stands, but I know you are well on your way, and I think you're actually pretty close. So if you make a contribution, you're basically doubling your dollars, because the feds will match it. And we need to meet the match soon. The deadline is technically the nominating convention in July. But it's very important because it takes them a while to work the paperwork. So we actually have to meet the qualifying contributions well in advance, perhaps a month in advance even, in order to really qualify. So I encourage anybody who hasn't contributed yet or who has and is able to make another contribution, please do so. Every dollar you contribute is doubled up to a contribution of $250. And if you're able to contribute more than that, that helps us get other people's contributions in as well, even though the feds aren't doubling it. So I can't stress enough that we are on our way to being the first green campaign to actually qualify for matching funds. Once they do that, it gives us enormous credibility with the press. It becomes harder for them to lock us out if we are a campaign that's actually funded by public money. So we're on a roll, and with your help, we're going to get there soon. So go to my website, jillstein.org, and it's easy to contribute and join the team. Thanks.